see. So now at the waistline now. So to get our waistline, so this depends. If you want to get the waistline, it depends on the measurement, on the length of the kaftan. If the kaftan is something that the kaftan is very long, maybe it's reached the nail, you cannot apply the method I want to use now to get your waistline, because the clothes will be shaped by the side. So, but if it is something that is on the average length, if the length is on the lap, reach the lap, that is not too tall, you can use this method that I want to use. But if the length is something that the kaftan is very long, please don't use this method. You can just use your discretion to get the waistline of that person. So now the sewing allowance for this one is a 3. This measurement, this length is an average length. 32 is an average length on the person. It's not too long, neither is it too short. It's on the lap, it doesn't reach the neck. So you divide the whole length by 2. So 32 divided by 2 will give me what? Will give me 16. So on this 16 now, just roll it straight down. That's it. On this 16, that's where my waistline. That's my waistline. So now here is a 9.5. Here I will have a 9 inch. I'm taking ½ inch inward. So at the hip line as well, I'm making it 9.5 again. So at the end I will have a shaped clothes. So the slit now will be 13. The length is a 32. So I'm making it the side slit, I'm making it a 13. So this is what I mean by side slit. So I'm making it a 13 plus a sewing allowance. So I'm making it 13 plus sewing allowance as a 13. So now from here now I have a 9.5 here. So plus this. If you check my hip, you can see my hip is a 34, while the chest is a 38. So this will be on the hip level. So please, in no way your hip, whatever you are measuring here, shouldn't be smaller than your hip, so that the clothes will not be tight on the hip line. So make sure that whatever you are having here is wider than your hip measurement. So now this is a 9.5 again, plus sewing allowance, which is 1 inch. The waistline is a 9, which is a 36. So now here again, ½ inch, 1 inch for sewing allowance. So I want to connect the line now. You can as well use the free hand to do this, but if you have your cuff, no problem. So but for those that cannot use a free hand, please try to get a cuff. So you can see. So this is now that is it. So the next thing is to go through with the measurement, with the drafting. So the next thing is to cut our kaftan. So now here I'm not cutting the front and the back together. I'm cutting the back, the front separately from the back. So I'm adding like ½ inch to the back. So because the front show deep inside than the back. So now cut this place together. That is it. That is it. That is how to cut perfect senator dress or kaftan. So please, if you enjoyed this video, if you learned anything or gained anything from this video, one or two things, please help me make a comment. So and then help me subscribe to the channel. So this is a way of encouraging me to do more. So next thing is to cut our sleeve. So the next thing is to cut our sleeve. Now you're welcome once again. So this is a continuation of our tutorial on how to cut a comprehensive training on how to cut our kaftan and then pants. So now I've cut the front, the kaftan, but I've not yet cut the sleeve. But I want to cut the trouser first. The reason is that sometimes if you cut the sleeve, you may be left with pieces. But if you cut your trouser first, you know that whatever you are left with is what we manage for your sleeve. This is to help you manage the clothes, and at the end of the day, you won't be short of a material to use for the trouser. But if you first cut the sleeve, if the material is not that enough, you will be short of the material to use for the trouser. But I advise you to, whenever you just cut out your the kaftan, the next thing you should do is to cut the trouser. I employ you to do that. So if you cut your trouser and the material is not even enough to cut the sleeve, you can as well use another material to make a design for the sleeve, or you use another, maybe a pattern material to use for the sleeve. So now the next thing I'm doing is to cut the trouser. After I cut the trouser, then I'll proceed to cut the sleeve. So now let's proceed. So the next thing to do now is to fold our material into two. The front should be inward, while the back should be outside. So please make sure that the material is smooth here, no wrinkle. So lay it, and the factory weaving edge is what I'm laying here. So vertically, horizontally rather. So this is the factory weaving edge, and this is the normal line, side line. So please use this side for your length. The factory weaving edge, make sure that's what you use for the length, because sometimes if you place a material like this, it doesn't come out good if you're ironing the material. But if the length is in this on the vertical horizontal level, so it will come out very fine when you're ironing your dress. So now let's proceed. So the next thing is to roll out the edge. Leave like 1 inch upward. So now the length you're having is a 38.5. So you roll your normal length 38.5. So now the next thing to do is to add like 2 inches or 1.5, depending on how you want the folding to be. But for this, I'm using a 2 inches. So now at this level, this is a 38.5. Measure 38.5 here. Measure 2 inches here. Then roll. Roll. So now, after that, the next thing is to get our crochet. Now, to get our crotches, it depends on what you want to use. Some people use waist, while some people use a hip. So please, I'm not disputing anyone you are using here. If you use a hip, you go directly. This how to use the hip. So 34. The hip is a what? Is a 34. Whatever you have as your hip, just divide it by 4. So this 34 divided by 4 will give me 8.5. Right? So, but if I'm using a waist, which is a 28, waist divided by 4 plus 2 or 1.5 or 1. So this depends on how fitted you want your trouser to be. You can as well you can add 2, you can add 1.5, and you can add a 1 to it. So now let's use this. Some people use this method, while some also use this formula. So the waist now is a 28 divided by 4, but for this I'm adding 1.5 plus 1.5. I want it to be on an average, not to drop down and then not too short. So I'm adding a 1.5. So now 28 divided by 4 is a what? 7.5. Right? No, I think it's not correct. It's a 7. To be 7. 28 divided by 4. So 7 plus 1.5 will give me 8.5. So you can see that you are still arriving at the same thing. So it's just that the process, the method is what's different. So if you are using this, no problem. If you're also using this, no problem. Just stick to whatever that is easy for you and then you feel comfortable with. You can use hip, you can as well use the waist. So now we are using a 8.5 for the crotch. So now from this line we measure 8.5, 8.5, then rule 8. So the next thing now is to get our hip line. So the hip line is to get our hip line. Hip is a 34. So now 34 divided by 4 leave us 8.5, right? 8.5. No, yeah, 8.5. No, the formula is a waist divided by 4 plus 2 or 2.5 or 3. So this depends greatly on the waist measurement. So if you are having the waist of a 28, you can use a 2.5 like this. If you are having anything below 25, you can use 2. If you are having anything above 30, please use 3. If you are having anything above 30, above anything 38, anything like 39, please add 3.5. Yeah. So if the waist is a 39, if you are using this method, please you should add to it 2, 2.5, 3. So now for this, the waist is a 28 divided by 4 plus 2.5. So this will give me 7 plus 2.5. That's good. That's 9.5. So you can see that this one is a little bit shorter to this. So whatever you feel comfortable with, you can go with it. If you use this, it's close maybe a little bit very fitted. So if you go to this, it will stay a little bit wider. So but for me, I stick most with this. So I use waist for my measurement because it gives me consideration to the waistline. I can add to it if the waist is above certain level, because the more the waist is, the more the hip line is. So and I don't want to have a very tight hip on my trouser. So I'm using 2.5 to this for this. So 7 plus a 2.5, that's a 9.5. So now this is a 7. So from this extreme now, measure 7. Then you add a 2.5 to it. So giving me 9.5. So 9.5. Now the tie now. For the tie now, then I will add 2 inches to it here. At up here, minus 1/2 inch from it. So this line will be like this, not straight. To be to the curve a bit. So now join this together. Join this together. So that is it. So the next thing is to get our nail. To get the nail now, to be from this line, the crotches line, to the ankle line. Give us a 30. So now 30 divided by 2 is what? 15. So now add 2 inches upward. That's a 17. That's a 17. The reason is that if you check your knee, from your knee to the down is longer than your knee to your crotches. So if you check your leg, you can look at that. So the reason for this space to be longer than this place, that's how to get your nail. So from here downward will be longer than here upward. So now that's how to get your nail. So the next thing now, this is the nail. This is the ankle line. Now this is the crotches line. This is the waistline. Now, so you can see. So now let's apply our hemline or ankle. No, how to do that is that whatever you are having here now, remember I've not gotten my tie. So whatever you are having here now, this is 11.5. We'll divide it by 2. So 11.5 divided by 2 will give me 5 3/4. That's it. 5 3/4. If you divide 11.5 into 2, 5 3/4. So this method will make you have a very fine pants. The gator of the pants will fall to the front, because with this you are getting the front line. You are getting the front line. With this you are getting the front line. So when you roll it out like this is the line that your gator will fall into. So with this, you make sure that your cutting fall to the center, not by the side. So with this, you have a very straight trouser. Then the gator will fall on the right place. So now the next thing is to get our ankle, which is a 6.5. So now 6.5 divided by 2 will give us 3.2. So that's 6.5. So I'm placing my tape rule at 3.2 here now. So chalking here, marking a 3.5 here as well. So what I have on the nail is a what? 16. So 16 divided by 4 divided by 2 now, rather, it will be what? It will be 8. So 8 now divided by 2 will be what? Will be 4. So I'm placing my tape rule at 4 now. So I'm getting the center of the nail. So here and here. So the next thing is to connect the line. So if you have a cuff, you can make use of it. But if you don't have cuff, you can use your free hand to do it. But before you use cuff, your trouser, don't make it cuff from downward. Just roll it upward a bit. Make it straight from downward a bit. Make it straight from downward a bit before you apply cuff. So place it there and connect the line. With this, I'm very sure you have a perfect pant. So that is it. So connect this side as well. So but if you can use a free hand, you can as well do that. You can also use free hand, but I'm considering those that doesn't have a previous idea on how to do the cutting. So now that is it. That is how to cut our pants. But now, here now, remember that our waistline is slopey here. So now let's put that into consideration. So now I'm removing ½ inch from here. I'm also adding half to this place. So please, if you want to do this, don't use straight ruler, but rather use a cuff like this, or you make use a free hand cuff. Use your hand to make it like this. So now let's do the cutting. So the pocket line now, I'm making the pockets to be 7.5. So for me, I don't cut out this place. The reason that I always like my flap to be very wide, like this. If you check out this, I'm using another material for the pockets. You can see that I'm using another material for the pocket. But if this place is very tiny, to be easily showing outside, so I normally make my flap to be very wide, so that even I'm using another material for the pocket, it will not show outside like that. So because this flap is very wide. So now to do that, just leave this place, then cut out this, notching the pocket mouth now. So now the pocket mouth at the top is a 2.5. I'm using 2.5 for this. So the next thing to do is to cut the back. I said that I thought it's upside down. So the essence of doing this is to manage the material. And see that the material come inside here while it's short here. So this way allow me to have essence here. If I have essence here now, then I'll be able to manage the material very well. But if you fold it like this, that means you are wasting the material. So but just turn it upside down so that you're able to manage the material you have. So management of the material is also important, because the more you know how to manage your material, the better your chances of having enough material to create a different design. So now this at the bottom now is a 2 inches. Here I'm adding 2.5. Here now will be 3. So now let me connect the mark. So don't forget, this place will be a little bit straight. Get the back now. Our waist, which is 28 divided by 4, give us 7. So now what you are using is a 7. Measure 7 here. That's a 28 divided by 4 is a 7 plus ½ inch, which we will use to hold it by the side here, and 1 inch, which is for the back slit, and then 1.5, which is for back joining. So half for side joining, 1 inch for back slit here, and 1.5 for back joining. So the next thing is to connect this line and use your French cuff. So now this is the straight line. Instead of having a straight line, I'm making a curve here to come up a bit for bottom. So that is it. So this one, remember, just make use this one to be part of the measurement, to part of the material. Is not part of the clothes, just for me to have the essence here. So this is the line you should follow. Don't follow here. So this line you should follow. So the next thing is to cut out our trouser, and that is all. We are good to go. Now let's say for this. So let's confirm our tie now. Our tie, which is a 23. Let's confirm it whether we are right or not. So can make an adjustment. So ½ inch for sewing allowance here, ½ inch for sewing allowance here as well. So but sometimes don't forget, when you are weaving machine can cut off some parts, so you can just make it a little bit wider than ½ inch or more than ½ inch as well. So this is a 9 inches. So the sewing allowance for the back as well. Remember, we are measuring the back, not the front. Now we have measured the front. This is the front, which is a 9 inches. So the back now, so I'm just placing the tape on the front. I don't want to remove it. I'm measuring from the back as well. So now we are measuring back. So this is the back line now. So I'm measuring the back now. So which is a 12, right? Which is 12. So this is the front is a 8, and the front is a 9. From that 9 again, I'm placing it. So this is giving me 21. So I think I need to adjust the measurement, the tie. So we go with 22. I think there is an error on the measurement. So the 23, I'm not confident with that 23. So I'm going for 22. I'm going for 22. I'm going for 22. 9. So I'm going for 22. So yes, I'm using the 22 for this, not 23. I think the 23 will be a little bit wide. So let's continue. That is it. So all these pieces should be good. Don't cut it off. This will be used for the pockets. Now, here's how to get your back slit. The back slit, the 1/2 inch you are joining here. Then the waist is what? Is a 7. So divided by 2 is a 3.5. So this is where our back slit will fall. Please don't divide the whole back with half. If you do that, that means you are having your back slit here, back dart rather. That means you are having your darts here. That means you are having your darts here. Darts rather. I'm very sorry for that hero. So that means you are having the back darts here. So instead of having 5.5, remember that you are still joining here with 1.5. So if you do that, that means your back pocket will fall to the bottom line. So which shouldn't be. So let's get that right. So considering the distance, the back joining, your back dart should be at 4.5. So I think with that we are good to go. So that is all for that. So the next thing is to cut our pieces for the trouser. Let me first cut the sleeve. Let us cut the sleeve for our kaftan. So now we are left with pieces. So we can do and not do with this. So you can see what I'm talking about. Assuming you don't have enough material, so you cut out your sleeve. To cut that now, you need to buy another material. But if assuming you have cut your trouser and the material you are left with is not that enough, you can maneuver, you can turn the material like this, and you have your enough material. If you have enough material to cut a sleeve, and you can as well make use of it like this if it's up to normal length. So this material I'm using is just 3 yards. It's 3 yards. So with 3 yards, if you know how to manage material, you can cut your kaftan conveniently. So the sleeve is what? The sleeve you're having is a 24. So put your material and make it 4 layers. 1, 2, 3, 4. So put it in what? So now put this piece straight like this. So the chest is what normally determines the wideness of the sleeve. So the chest is what? Is a 38. That's chest divided by 4. And chest is a 38 divided by 4. So that's what? 9.5. So that's 9.5. But for me, I want to remove this half. So I'm left with 9. So this depends on whoever you are making the clothes for. So if you are having a chest above 40, so that's 40 divided by 4, you are having a what? You are having a 10. So you can as well remove a half from here, then you are left with 9.5. If you are okay with this. But if you want it to be very free, you can make use of a 10. If your chest is a 44, 44 divided by 4, you are having a what? 11. With this, you can minus half, 0.5, or minus 1 from it. So you are left with 10 or 10.5, whatever the case may be. So this depends on the person you are making clothes for. Please, you can whatever you have as your chest, divide it by 4. You can use the whole measurements you have. If it is 9.5, you can use the whole thing. But if the person you are measuring, making clothes for, want it to be fitted, you can remove half, 0.5. You can remove 1. So depend on the person you are making clothes for. So I'm using 9 inch for this also. So this is 9. So this is 9. Then it's a cuff, and so measure half here for same allowance by the chest. So the next thing is to measure your chest and your sleeve. The sleeve is a what? 24. This is a 24. But the cuff now, for the cuff now, I will remove 2 inches from it. The reason is what I make my cuff is 2.2¾ I don't normally make it up to 3 inches because I think that is not standard. The standard measurement for the cuff is a 2¾ So if you want, and if you are using 3, no problem, you can as well make use of it. So don't forget, if you want to join it, you still join half here. So you join half here, you are left with what? You have removed 2.5. So my cuff that I normally prepare is a 2¾ So now, just whatever you have as your measurements, just remove 2 inches from it. So I'm just taking my time to explain all this so that whenever you are, whatever I'm doing, you know the reason I'm doing everything, not I'm just doing blah blah. So this is I make it to be 6. So this is a 6 or 5¾ 5¾ Let me make it 5¾ Then measure 2 inches here at the bottom here as well. Measure 3.5. So now connect the line. I'm using free hand here. I'm using free hand here. I'm using free hand here. So now the next thing is to connect the 2 points. So that is it. So now let's so for the slip plackets now, just cut. This is the front, this is the kaftan, this is the kaftan. So I want to cut the back cape now. This is what I mean by back cape. I want to cut the back cape now. So now I want to show you something here. So this straight line now, the back cape now, this straight line now, this is the horizontal line from the factory. So please, if you want to cut your back cape, don't cut it like this, but rather turn the material, turn the vertical line from the factory to way round, so that so if I'm using a stripe material, you have understand what I'm saying better, because the stripe will come like this. So assuming you want to cut your back slit now, and you cut the stripe to come straight like this, it won't be okay. The stripe should be the line. The same thing should be applicable to plain material as well, because plain material normally the shadow normally reflect the reflection. So that whenever you are making your dress, the reflection wouldn't be different. So now let's cut our back slit. So remember that this one is a back slit. So now let's cut our back cape rather. So now lay it like this. Don't forget to fold it, so you are not doing it this like this. So but rather you are as if you are removing this one out of it. This one is not part of what you are cutting. So fold this one inward, then just cut it. So this is my back cape now. Whatever the shape you want, then you can draw it on it. If you want it like this, you can do that. If you want it to be slant, you can do that. If you want it to be straight, you can as well do that. So now, let me use this. You can see it. So that is how to cut them. Okay. So now I want to cut the same tension is applicable to the wrist as well. Please don't cut your cuff like this, because the reflection of the material won't be okay. So but rather cut it like this. Cut it like this. Cut it like this, so that you have a perfect result. So assuming that I'm using a stripe material, you will understand what I'm saying better. So this will be the stripe on the material. But if you cut just like this, that means this is how the stripe will come. So this also applicable to plain material as well, because of the reflection. So but most people doesn't consider this once they are using a plain material. So now, but for this I'm using another material. So I'm using another material for the inside. So that's why I'm just cutting two pieces here. I'm using another material for the inside, that's why I'm cutting two pieces here. So that's about that. So I think we have come to the end of this training. You can see that it's a full and a very comprehensive training. So if you enjoy anything, if you learned anything from this video, please help me subscribe to the channel. And if there is anything that is not clear to you enough, you can contact me on the WhatsApp. My phone number is 081 0211 7911. So I'm always available to take up your question. Whatever that is not clear, or whatever that you see that I did that you are not that very understand, you can as well contact me on the WhatsApp. I'm very much available to respond to you. Thanks for watching.